Right, so hey everyone and welcome back to another budget photography video. So I've had lots and lots of cameras over the years, including Canon, Sony, Nikon, Pentax, Olympus and more. But I've never thought about attaching my camera to, well, a drone until I picked up this, the DJI Mavic Air 1. And I fell in love with the little thing. I mean, it kind of fits in my pockets. I mean, I've got very big pockets, but look at that. I mean, that is tiny. Now, there is a new one out, but this is not what this video is about. So we'll put that over there for now. What I am here to talk to you about is its bigger brother, the Mavic Pro 1. This is my new favorite toy. And I go out and fly it for absolutely no reason at all. I just go out and fly. Now, before I continue into this video, I am still an amateur pilot. I do have my UK drone license. I am fully licensed up. I pay for a kind of a, I call it a subscription thing to the licenses because I have to pay a certain amount of money every year. I have my special code that I've currently taken off of my drone and my controller that I have to have on at all times when I'm flying. You can actually see, if this thing will focus on me, some residue from the sellotape from where it goes along here. You can see it just there. But that's okay, that's fine. I don't mind about a little bit of residue. I am not by any means whatsoever a professional drone pilot. So don't take any advice from me on flying the thing. I am here to talk about one thing and basically one thing alone. It's camera. That's what I know. I know cameras. And that's kind of what I do with all my videos, even with stuff that isn't specifically a camera, like when I do my mobile phone reviews. I don't review the phone as much as I would like to. I'm not a phone reviewer, I'm a camera reviewer. And it's kind of the same with this GoPro that I reviewed last week. I took a different perspective and I re-watched it back after I'd finished and I was like, this video is different to other GoPro reviews that I've seen previously when this thing came out. And that's because I didn't really treat this as an action camera. I treated this as a camera full stop. And then was able to kind of throw it around and use it in the sea and stuff like that, and not worry about it. So in 2016, DJI announced their Mavic Pro, a professional-ish drone. Most people at the time, and I'm sure most people now, are still using either the Inspire or the Phantom range, which I think have better cameras than the Mavic Pros, but anyway, that's not the point. But a semi-professional, so a wedding videographer or something like that. That's its target market. They announced it, it was amazing, and it still is, even in 2022. It shoots up to 4K, which is pretty damn good if you personally ask me. 4K video is really nice, and especially because you have D-Log. Now it's not raw video, but you have D-Log, which is a log profile, which means you can color grade to kind of a raw-ish standard. It's pretty nice to be able to do. But what I will say is the camera on the DJI Mavic Pro is really, come on, focus, really quite small in comparison to the new ones. So it's not going to look as good as something like This, for example, if I was to attach this to a drone, it won't look as good. It just won't, because the sensor on this is a lot smaller. Now, the DJI Mavic Pro does have some shortcomings. Now, its biggest shortcomings are, well, DJI themselves. They have lots and lots of problems. First of all, there's the restrictions. DJI have lots and lots of restrictions in place for users where you can and cannot fly. They range from blue zones to red zones and yellow zones and this zone and that zone. Now, a lot of them you can remove. You can ask for permission from DJI. But with other zones, you have to go to your local aviation authority. So for example, here in the UK, it's the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority, where I get my drone license from. I know in America, it's the FAA, the Federal Aviation Authority. So go to your local one in your country and you can ask for permission. They will then give you permission if you're allowed to fly there for a good reason. And then you can tell DJI and they will unlock it. But the most common thing that's locked on the drones are blue zones. Now, blue zones are the easiest to unlock. You go onto their website, you put in your drone's details, you put in your details, and it is basically unlocked there and then. That you can remove. It is still really annoying because then blue zones especially are areas where, you know, you're allowed to fly under, you know, here in the UK at least, you're allowed to fly in the blue zones. It's just not recommended. That's why DJI put in the blue zones and be like, look, you've asked us for permission. We've given you permission to fly there. It's now your responsibility to, you know, fly safely. If your aircraft ends up in the engine of a 747, that's on you, not us. But so I can kind of get, you know, the restrictions that they've put in place. I just wish they weren't so heavy. Now, in my area, yes, I am within, I think it's about 5 to 10 miles of city airports. So I get it. I fully do. And there is a red zone around city airport where I am not allowed to fly, but there is also a blue zone, which is what I can remove as well, which is why I fly a lot at the local lake, because that is not in the blue zone, meaning I don't actually have to, yeah. But before you even start to fly, you have to create an account with DJI. You can't not fly your drone without an account because it won't work. It needs to know who the pilot is and what country you're in, so obviously it knows its restrictions, which I get. Again, I get it, but it's really annoying because you have to sign in and you go for all this, and then by the time that, you know, let's say you're buying a brand new drone, by the time that you've signed up to everything, your drone battery's on 50% and you need to go plug it back in again. And that's really annoying. So for that matter, I would suggest getting more than one battery. I was lucky enough that when I picked up mine, it came with 3 batteries because it came with the Fly More kit. And that is something I would strongly recommend. Lithium ion and lithium polymer batteries do not last forever. They have a life expectancy. That's why your mobile phone battery life degrades over time, and your screen on time goes from about 4 hours to maybe half an hour every day. So I would strongly recommend, if you're going to be flying a lot, buy more batteries. Now, out of each battery, you do get about 20 to 30 minutes roughly, all depending on what quality video you're shooting, how much energy the battery basically is having to use. Now, the app, the DJI app. Now, there's about 6 apps, by the way, that you will think you need, but you don't. You need the DJI Go Fly 4. Well, you know what, even I don't know. I need to have a look on my phone. Where even is my phone? There it is. Yes, the DJI Go before. I'll include it as a screenshot here so that you can see it. But on the plus side, the app itself is pretty good because you can lift some minor restrictions within the app. And again, it does exactly the same as the blue zones. It says, we've put these restrictions in place. We advise you not fly here, but you can. If you want to fly here, push this button and it's now down to you. It's your responsibility to be safe, which again is another pain in the bum. But on the bright side, you can control the drone from the app if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend using the controller. Now, unfortunately, unlike the DJI Mavic Air, this does not have internal storage of around 8 gigs like the Air does. This has no internal storage, but what you can do is you can stream the video from the drone to your phone of up to 16 gigabytes. And in my personal experience, I've never really got past about 6 gigs really of streaming it to your phone. So I would still recommend always keeping your SD card in your drone, but you don't really have to if you don't want to, really. But if you're going to stream it to your phone, don't shoot in D-Log because it is not going to be able to send that big of a file over the air that quickly. It won't work. Choose a color profile in the DJI app and go and shoot and send it to your phone. But it is nice in case you ever do forget your SD card, because I've done it. I've forgotten my SD card and been like, oh, what do I do now? Oh wait, I can send it straight to my phone on the app. Now, one thing that really does bother me is a little piece of plastic. This little piece of plastic. This is the gimbal cover. This keeps the gimbal safe in storage and in travel. I wouldn't recommend using it when you're flying because it covers over the vents. Yes, this drone has internal ventilation to keep it cool because it does get really quite hot. And the intake for the ventilation system, the cooling system, is behind the gimbal. So if you have the gimbal cover on, you are blocking that cooling system. Now, you can have the gimbal cover on when you are flying, but I wouldn't recommend it. And also with this little piece of plastic, you were probably going to lose some video quality. So again, it's not going to look as nice with without. Yeah, you get what I mean. But this bugs me. This little piece of plastic really kind of, annoys me because you need it to keep the gimbal safe, but I always end up losing it. I've lost this twice, and I've lost the gimbal hold-all thing that keeps the gimbal solid in place when it's not in use. I've lost that. It's in my house somewhere, but I don't know where. And I managed to find this only recently. So I do hope they've done something about these gimbal covers on the newest ones, but I doubt it. And the thing is when I first brought it, people did warn me about the gimbal covers. They went, yeah, you're going to lose it. And I thought, no, I won't. No, everything will be fine. I thought, I know best, blah, 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 blah. And then I lost it. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I'm not as, good as I thought I was. And that's okay. I was proven wrong and I admit to it. Now, probably one of the controller's biggest downsides is the fact that it is really designed for an iPhone. And when I say iPhone, I don't mean the new modern iPhone 12 and 13s. I mean an iPhone 7. And well, with iOS 16 just been announced, they have now confirmed iOS 16 will not be on the iPhone 7 and 6, which is a real shame because this controller, if you look, is really designed for this phone. Here is my iPhone 7. And you can see it fits really nicely. Now, the app will still be supported for at least, I personally think, 2 years. So you should be fine if you just want to get an iPhone 7 and link it up with the controller and just use this iPhone for this controller. Now, yes, you do not have to use the iPhone 7 or actually an iPhone at all, but please do be aware that it might be too big. Your phone might not, or might only just fit, and it might not feel comfortable. Well, at least as comfortable as it would with something smaller. And then we get on to these bits, the most important bits of a controller. On the Mavic Air, which I think came out after the Mavic Pro, you were able to remove these, and unfortunately on this one you can't, which means you do have to kind of baby this controller, which is really, really annoying because I'd like to fold these away. I want to unscrew them and put them in the little thing in here, like on the Mavic Air, but I can't do that on this one. Now, I believe you can do it on the newer Mavic Pros, but unfortunately, in 2016, they didn't do that for the Mavic Pro. So to bring this whole review into one kind of little paragraph, what do I think? I think the Mavic Pro is a great drone in 2022. Whether you're a beginner like me, or whether you're someone more experienced. Does it have its shortcomings? Yes. Do they really matter? No, not really. The video on this drone looks really nice, and that is usually what actually matters with this thing. And plus, you can pick this up quite cheaply. I picked mine up for about £300 to £400, and I got the Fly More combo, meaning I had more connectors, I had 2 more batteries, I had the multi-dock charger, a little carrying case which was very cool, and some more propellers. Bearing in mind the new Mavic Pros are going for about £1,000 with the Fly More pack, I would recommend actually, rather than going with the Mavic Pro 3 or 4, whatever they're on, go and buy this for your first drone. Even the DJI Mini Pro 3 or 3 Pro, whatever it is, the newest drone they've released recently, don't buy that, buy this. Buy this. It's going to be a better drone. Anyway guys, thanks for joining me in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.